Welcome to today's pop-up talks, Future-Proofing Your Home Design. With new design trends highlighted every season, it's really hard to know what is a fad and what is actually indeed good design. An experienced designer will know how to future-proof your home with great design choices. So today, joining us in our pop-up talks is Sarah Gallop, owner and director of design with Sarah Gallop Design. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. So Sarah, you started your career in commercial design, but quickly recognized your true love was in designing homes. You're experienced in designing custom spaces, and over the years, you've designed many award-winning spaces and continue to do so with your team at Sarah Gallop Design. So you're also a regular contributing writer for Black Press and Glacier Media, and a featured columnist with West Coast Homes and Design Magazine, plus a regular main stage presenter at the BC Home and Garden Show and the Vancouver Fall Home Show. Not being able to meet at the home shows, HAVAN's virtual parade of homes, which is what we're doing here today, is an excellent way to connect with homeowners. And you just received the coveted Grand HAVAN Designer of the Year award. Congratulations, Sarah.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let's just jump right into the topic. So we are going to be talking about future-proofing your home design today. So I guess first and foremost, let's talk about what exactly future-proofing your home means. So maybe chat with us a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. I think ultimately future-proofing, we're looking at the ability to withstand changes that will come at a later date. We can't predict the future. None of us really know, what's going to happen with the trends and things. But, as your family needs are changing, as trends are changing, technology changes, change happens over time. I think that we can all acknowledge that. And so looking forward and trying to maybe incorporate some of these things in a way that will allow it to stand the test of time is what we're talking about with future-proofing in general.
Perfect. Well, that sounds like a really smart way to approach any sort of home design, whether you're building new or renovating. Maybe talk to us about from a design standpoint. So how do you incorporate the concept of future proofing when you're designing a home?
Well, when we're looking at trends, for example, it's like we want to incorporate those in a way that is flexible. So it allows for changing as preferences change, or even, sometimes even as seasons change. You might want to have different accents in your home at different times of the year. So creating a background that allows for that to happen, and maybe not incorporating some of those trends in really super permanent, expensive ways to change out. Mm-hmm. On the technology side, we look at having conversations with suppliers that it's about an exit plan on technology, in my opinion, because technology changes constantly. So incorporating things that make sense for the functionality that you're looking for, but also, if down the road you no longer want that, or technology has changed and there's parts that you can't get anymore or something like that, it's like you want to make sure that the system would still work. And that you're not stuck with a massive charge to change those things out or upgrade them at that time. I think another really key thing is energy efficiency, and that's something that's huge in our industry right now and is, again, changing all the time and being improved upon all the time. Planning for the future. So when we're looking at home design, the home, like the structure itself, building to or designing to today's standards doesn't really make a lot of sense. By the time the house is built, you're a couple years down the road, technology and the standards will be different, and your house is already kind of out of date. So it's about like looking down the road quite a bit and being ahead of the game, so that your house can then compete if you were to sell it, or even just from a investment perspective on your home, making sure that it's something that will, again, stand the test of time. The other thing that's really big on this too is family flexibility. I find that often, dynamic of families change. And sometimes that's what prompts a move or a big renovation or some of these things. It's like, and I've had clients where they've come to us and they're like, oh yeah, we just renovated 2 years ago, but now this has happened in our family, so now we need this instead. It's like, if when you're doing your first project, you anticipate all kinds of possibilities, because life's unpredictable, you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if you start looking down, there's like, hey, well, what if this, what if this, what if this, what if this, and have these conversations with your designer or your design team, you can design flexible spaces so that, they can grow with you, so that you're not forced out of your house or forced into another renovation.
So really just thinking forward and trying to predict trends in the future.
Exactly. Thinking forward, and also just, yeah, not looking at the now, because I think that sometimes people come to us and they're looking at the needs like, okay, well, I have 3 kids and they're this old and they're this and they're this. And it's like, well, by the time the project is done, they're actually going to be this old, and their needs as teenagers will be different from when they're 12, and, all of these things. And it's just, yeah, it's about looking down the line. And again, we can't predict the future. Nobody can, but having those conversations actively with your design team, I think will help a lot with longevity of your home.
Absolutely. So there's obviously so many different aspects of a home and a home design, almost to the point where it's overwhelming for, a homeowner that hasn't been down this road before. So, if we were to categorize, let's say, the aspects of a home design into 2 categories, one being, the pretty stuff, the aesthetic stuff, and then the other one being like the functional requirements of the home. Does the concept of future proofing and design trends apply to both of them, or more strongly towards one versus the other?
I think it applies to both. There's obviously different parts to both of those, as you said, but I mean, the functionality aspect, I mean, the aesthetics is easy. People are like, oh, what's on trend, the colors, whatever it might be that year. That's an easy one to understand. But I think the functionality, so like, again, thinking down the road about spaces and how they work and how they're going to work today and how you might need them in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. And ones that are flexible, like I was saying, like flexible to different stages of life and different needs. Even when we look at like the architectural design, hallway sizes, door sizes, future turning radiuses, like all of those things are functional, and they come back to the base of the plan. And if they're not, they're really hard to retrofit. So if they're not incorporated out of the gate, those are the times where people are kind of forced to go into a different home that has that, instead of, their home being planned that way from the beginning. And on a simpler stage, even things like putting backing in walls for future grab bars when you're doing a bathroom renovation, and, curbless shower entries, like those are popular design looking things, but they're all, well, the curbless shower entries are, but they're also serving a functional purpose that down the road you have something that's barrier free. Even at your entry door, you look at a lot of homes and there's a number of steps up to an entry door. It's like, is there a way down the road, if you ever needed to have a ramp, that it could be incorporated in a nice way and not like this huge afterthought?
Yeah.
Afterthought in design is not usually a good result. When you plan it through, you tend to get a much more integrated kind of effect. I even look at this from a functionality perspective. Like, you think about homes like 100 years ago, super segmented, right? You think about homes now, a lot of them are very open. It's like, that is a trend. It's a very long lasting trend, but that's still a trend. And that's not an aesthetic trend. That's a spatial or functionality trend, right? So it's interesting, because I see a little bit of that going back. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems like a little bit of that.
The homes are a bit more segregated.
Yeah, well, or the ability to, right? Because, especially, COVID and such, is like, you need the ability to kind of close off some spaces so that, maybe you need a small workspace. Maybe you need, it's like, we used to do that sometimes in family rooms in like the hub of the home. We want to be able to watch where the kids are at. It's like, that's your only computer in the house. It doesn't work for doing a business call or if you're working at home. So, needs change, and giving, again, flexibility in the floor plan to allow for that is important.
Absolutely. So, and privacy is, I think, a huge topic of conversation given, the pandemic and everybody being at home all the time, or a lot more than we used to be, right? So,
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, perfect segue. Speaking of trends, let's talk about that for a moment. Looking ahead, if you had a crystal ball, what are some current design trends that you're seeing now, let's say in 2021 and into the future?
Yeah, I mean, again, like a lot of them are very aesthetic, but I think that there's some functionality ones that have emerged over the last little bit and will continue for a while, because the pandemic has forced us to think differently about how we use our space. Yeah. And some things that worked for us before don't work anymore. So on the aesthetic side, the colors are always changing. So Pantone's 2020 color was a classic blue. The 2021 color is illuminating, which is this like bright, vibrant yellow. Yeah. So, we look at incorporation of those things as like, perhaps in accessories or decor, or, if you love those colors, like I would never, ever suggest to somebody to incorporate a trend just because it's a trend. Like if you love it, go for it. If you don't. And just because it's on trend, do you want to put it into your house? Like that makes zero sense to me. So, but I would look at, because those are bold items, you know, doing an entire blue kitchen is a big commitment. So you've got to be really, really sure
You guys
that you
really
want
like
that.
blue.
Well, and it's funny, yeah, especially the blue. But it's also funny too, because green kitchens, like that deep green, are so on trend right now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like they're beautiful, love them. But also in 2 years, are you going to be like, oh, that was a 2021?
Yeah, I've had enough green.
I have too. I'm already done with it, and it's just coming out. But that's what happens, right? We see things so much earlier than kind of what's out there. So, you know, I
against yourself as well.
Well, you do. And I mean, I think that sometimes as designers, we have to catch ourselves too and advise our clients. You know, maybe we might want to try something. It's like, well, try it on your own house. Like, don't try it on a client's house where, you know, you want to see them incorporate that trend, right? Like it's better to, in my opinion, keep it classic.
Yeah.
Timeless, and again, for longevity, and then incorporate those ways. Like it's great to be on trend, but incorporate those in ways where you swap them out. Like if you needed to change some wallpaper, or you want to change some pillows, or maybe an accent chair, like those are easy things to do. Ripping out your kitchen cabinets or your bathroom cabinets or tiles or things that are super expensive and super affixed to your home, it's more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, when we were saying before about home offices, right? Yeah. Like from a spatial trend, something that's on trend right now is featuring home offices. And it's like, I don't know what your home office. Mine is not the tidiest space that is in my home. And I think that having maybe the ability to be close by what's happening in the rest of your home, but still, again, have that separation and have the ability to close off and have noise control and have privacy. Yeah. Those are important things.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to leave work too, right? Even if it's like just walking 10 steps out of your office.
You do that? I don't know if I do that. Yeah. You know, the other thing that I've noticed too, that I think this will continue for a while is outdoor space and connection to nature. Yes, huge right now, and probably will continue for a while. I think that the pandemic has made us realize, you know, some priorities and shifting of priorities and realizing how important that is. Yes. And we've been doing a lot of homes. I mean, natural light was always a huge thing for me, always in design, but I think that natural light and connection to nature, physical and visual, will continue to be big. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So thanks for sharing all those trends. So I guess in light of this whole topic of this pop-up talks, how do you take these trends and approach them in a future-proof kind of way? We already talked a lot about that, but maybe just as a summary.
You know, again, I think it's just, you know, trying to be timeless with your base, your foundation. And to me, a lot of that is also the architectural style, being true to the architectural style, because a home will always age better when it's appropriate with what it's inside of. So when you have, let's say you have a super traditional exterior and you put a really contemporary interior, I don't feel it ages as well as something that is connected. So, you know, you have a mid-century modern home, sure, do a mid-century modern interior. It will make sense for longer than putting a mid-century modern interior into a traditional home, or, you know, do you know what I mean? Like,
just being true to the architectural style.
Yeah, being true to the architectural style. Again, incorporating things in a classic way. So giving yourself a palette or a foundation to work off of, and then build those trends on top of it in a way that you can change them out periodically as you want to, seasonally, yearly, whatever it might be. And I think that, you know, look at the things you like, for one, the huge thing, no matter what. Yes. And also just like, you know, the functionality of your lifestyle and future requirements. You know, when you think about those things, it gives you flexibility in your home, which will allow you to stay in it for longer.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much, Sarah. As always, discussing design with you is so inspiring, and it's always fun. We could just do this all day long, but we do have a time cap. So I know that you were also on HAVAN's podcast, Measure Twice, Cut Once, as was I. Another great resource for homeowners. But so if you haven't checked that out yet, please feel free to do that. However, if they want to connect with you during the parade, when and how can they find you?
I believe that there is appointment times available, from what I understand.
Correct, yes. Yeah, you can book appointments on the left-hand side of the screen. Yeah, I think that's left. Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again, Sarah, for taking time out of your busy schedule today. HAVAN's Virtual Parade of Homes has lots of other seminars with trending topics for all of you homeowners out there. There's tons of beautiful homes for you to check out and builders and designers to connect with up until Sunday, June 13th. So make sure you don't miss out. Check out the panel on the left-hand side of your screen to navigate the virtual parade platform. A huge shout out and a thank you to our media sponsors, Post Media, Western Living Magazine, and the Daily Hive for helping to provide the opportunity for homeowners to connect with our members to build and renovate your dream home right the first time. I'm Kathy Ewan, founder of Phase One Design. See you next time.